Now I'd like to introduce another very old friend of Ian's, Erica Jolly. Erica describes Ian and herself as incredible friends, and they've been friends for 46 years because they first met when they were teaching together at Brighton Boys Tech. And although Erica is a few years Ian senior, she said she realised that Ian was, in her words, had the wisdom of Solomon at a very young age. And Erica was in Ian's musicals, and she says that throughout life he was a tremendous support to her in everything she did in education. Thank you, Erica.
I knew that would happen. I'm honoured to have been asked to contribute to this celebration of Ian's life. At the end of 1969, I was finished. Continuing as the Deputy Principal for the head of Mitcham Girls Technical High School would be unbearable. She'd already made me wet my pants when she roared at me. So I could study. I decided to return to half-time as a teacher of English. I chose Boys Tech, Brighton Boys Tech. It was 1970. I was 37. There was this bright young man, maybe 23 or 24, ready and willing to help me adjust. Besides being an outstanding teacher of English, with a passionate love of literature and the art of teaching, I discovered Ian had directed musicals. I heard his sister Sue in Ian's room saying critics said his direction of Guys and Dolls at Adelaide Teachers College had had a touch of genius. That smart Purcell kid. I saw the SVK on the cap on the whiteboard. Had lost none of that magic. At Brighton, he brought together students and staff from Brighton Boys Tech and Dover Gardens Girls High in the collaborative projects the school musicals can be, with so much joy in the making. Musicals can do that. They're not competitive like sports. They do not divide the world into winners and losers. Ian knew how to bring together so many people in different streams in the formal classrooms, just as people, sharing the making of it all. Everyone loved working with him. He enabled people, young and older, to develop new capacities, submerge egos for a change, so all of us became more than the sum of our parts. He gave everyone involved in any way a sense of achievement that no one could take away. With teachers involved, students saw some of us at last as human beings, and Ian let me sing. First, as Ruth in The Pirates of Penzance, and then as that wonderful, glorious, aging nightclub singer Cleopatra in Summer Days. Ian was such a gifted teacher. I trusted him completely. Mawson High School had its first group of girls in 1975. Among them was a quiet girl I was looking forward to teaching in 1976. She had not been in my Year 8 English class, but she had been one of a group talking literature and writing at lunchtime. Towards the end of the year, she approached me in the yard. Without hesitation, she told me she didn't think she would be able to learn from me if I taught her in the following year. That took real courage. I could reply that would be fine. I knew all would be well for her. I knew in 1976 we were getting Ian back, now our senior in English. Mr. Purcell would be her teacher. Ian wrote about Brighton Boys Tech and Mawson High in A Broader Vision, Vocational Education in 20th Century South Australia. His statements about encouraging learning for life should be read by all teachers now. Ian had the passion and the talent to bring together discipline, dedication and delight, so that all who had the luck, the enormous luck, to work with him grew in those capacities. He'd been senior in English in Whyalla before we got him back. Our newly co-educational school needed him. As its senior in English, he gave Mawson High School his brilliant, thoughtful, encouraging best from 1976 to 1984. He believed with me in the necessity to get rid of that cultural divide separating the sciences from the arts and the humanities. He made it possible through his negotiations with the director of the State Library for the launch of Challenging the Divide, Approaches to Science and Poetry at the State Library in 2010. When it seemed to be failing in its purpose, even though 2 Nobel laureates were among its contributors, he bluntly told me that more of the same wouldn't work. I should try something in my own voice. So he helped to set up, he got me to produce Making a Stand. His passion for quality was matched by his passion for humanity. We shared a belief in the necessity for active engagement as citizens, so he helped me to set up my Facebook page. There's more of that. I want to finish with this story. Bishop Desmond Tutu, who fought apartheid in South Africa, was speaking in St. Peter's Cathedral. Ian and I were going. We were late. The cathedral was packed. Loudspeakers brought Desmond Tutu's words to those of us outside. Standing there was a group of skinheads shouting their racist crap. I lovely Ian turned on, told this lot of sods to clear off if they would not let others listen. I was amazed. Ian turned to me and said, "Erica, I've changed." He had become fearless. He probably always was. He actually dared to challenge my mother. What can we do to honour his life now? Although at this time and in this place it might be thought inappropriate, we can do our best to keep 18C in place in the Racial Discrimination Act. And I'm sure